Welcome to the Brave Woman Podcast. I'm your host, Tanya Lynn, founder of Sistership Circle and author of Open Your Heart and The Art of Leading Circle. I'm the mother of 2 girls, an 8 on the Enneagram, aka the Challenger, happily married to my business partner, Brent, love connecting with nature, and have put in well over 10,000 hours circling with other women. On this podcast, we will explore how to embody the brave woman so that you can take action on your dreams and desires, unapologetically speak your truth, and live life on your own terms. Grab a seat and a cup of tea, and let's get started. Ooh. First episode, and we're going to do some storytelling today. This is going to be a juicy, vulnerable, transparent conversation with you about my marriage. And I took a year off from living with my husband. Wow. It's been almost a year. I left in June and it's now May. So I'm almost there, but we will be physically separated for an entire year and then reunited in June. And this is so unconventional. And that's why I really wanted to talk about it. And I wanted to start this season talking about why I did this, what I learned from it, to take some of the stigma out of it. And in a sense, this isn't completely uncommon because you have military wives who stay home while their men go off to war and much longer than a year. But I would say the traditional family lives under the same household. And, it's called a separation when you decide to not live together anymore. But I wouldn't call it that. I would not call what we did a separation. I was very much committed to the marriage. He was very much committed to the marriage. But there were some things that needed to happen before we could come back together. So let me just back up and share the story here. So in June, I always go back to San Diego for the summer. I was in San Diego, and for the 4th of July, I went to a family party with my friend. I didn't know anyone except my friend there, but there were, 50, 60, 70 people there. And it reminded me of my house growing up. It reminded me of the childhood that I had that was surrounded by a lot of friends, a lot of community, and that my house was that place. And there was this ache, this longing for that again. And I was not feeling that in Costa Rica. Not at all. And then I thought, oh, what if I could put my kids in Waldorf? What if? And so all of a sudden, a door opened and there were 2 spaces for the girls at Waldorf. And I had to make a decision if I was going to stay in San Diego. And Brent and I had already talked about, maybe you should take some time to, maybe you should stay in San Diego until like December. Why don't you stay a couple months, put the girls in school there, and then come back? Because where we were was living in, to me, completely unacceptable living conditions. In an apartment, 4 of us in an apartment, and there were basically 4 units. So we had one downstairs neighbor who smoked. So constant smoke in my apartment, which, that's a whole part of it. suicide shower. So that means that it's basically the knob is like this plastic, like you just throw it on there, and it's not even really a real working shower, constantly breaking. Um, Ant colonies living in the walls, no air, broken air conditioner. And I was just sick and tired. I couldn't do it anymore. And so, the goal was to get us onto the property that we bought, and while we're building, that we would live on the property while we're building. And we just kept going round and round in circles around this. And it just felt like this is just not going to happen. Like, I am not being taken care of. And not that it's him to take care of me, but like, I am not feeling like I'm being taken care of. I'm not taking care of myself. Like, I need to stabilize. Because what was happening is my fuse was so short. Every day, for the majority of the day, I was so agitated. And then I would go on a call and I would feel better for an hour, because I was like filled up from the circle energy, or I would do this, personal development work on myself, or whatever I was doing just felt like band-aids. But this underlying agitation, this like uncomfortable irritation, it was like this building heat. And Brent and I just were unable to even have a conversation. I mean, it was so bad. And I said, something's got to shift. So we were both in agreement. But from September, probably until December, most mornings I woke up with this awful, awful anxiety. And not just waking up, but like waking up between 4 and 5 a.m. with this nauseating anxiety. Like, I couldn't stay in bed because it was so uncomfortable. It was like choking me. I have never experienced anxiety like this in my life. Just heart palpitations. Just felt like I was being like, something around my neck, like I was being suffocated and so heavy. And so I would just get up and either go for a walk or go work out or whatever. But it's just like, I don't know what's going on in my life. I felt so disconnected from myself. I felt so disconnected from Brent. And I mean, it got to the point, I think it was in December, where my mom said, we can't have you here. Because the girls and I were living with my parents. And they have a small house, so we're practically on top of each other. But I was such a like contracted, tight mess. Like, I couldn't even have a conversation with them. The girls were just completely dysregulated as a result of that. I was dysregulated. My mom's like, we can't have you here. Like, it's too much. The girls are driving your dad crazy. Like, you're a mess. And we really want to help you, but we got to figure something out because this isn't working for us. And that's when I decided to enroll the girls in Brain Highways. And that really started to shift the energy. The new year, the energy completely shifted. But I remember we were working with this man therapist. Brent really wanted us to work with a guy. And there was something happen on the call where I kept wanting to I kept wanting to circle back to something. And every time I did, it felt like they thwarted the conversation. Like, they didn't want to go there. And then the therapist literally just started yelling at me, telling me how I'm throwing my husband under the bus, how I'm being inappropriate, and basically that we were the absolute worst couple that he'd ever worked with. So first of all, as a therapist, you never say that. And everyone said you should be reporting him. But it was really a wake-up call of like, yeah, things are bad. And we need to really consider whether this relationship is really what we want. And we need to really consider whether this project is really what we want. And for me, I know who Brent is. I know the power that we hold together, like what a power couple we are. We've built so much together over the past, it's been now 10 years. I just felt really attached to the marriage working. And so I had to almost let go of that attachment. And there's this beautiful distinction that I learned long time ago of commitment versus attachment. Can you be committed to something without the attachment to the outcome? And that's what I needed to do in the marriage, was let go of my attachment to the property, my attachment to Brent, my attachment to like all the things, all the outcomes that I thought I wanted, and just be committed to the vision of us that I've held this whole time. And then in January, we had a call with our couples council. And so back in 2020, we were part of Eden. It's a couples community with doing personal development workshops together and retreats. And my friends Sierra and Rana, who I'm going to have on to the podcast in this season, it's just incredible the couples that they brought together to just support each other. And one of the parts is having a couples council of 2 or 3 couples who meet regularly to support each other. So we had been meeting with our couples council for 3 years. And then we met at Envision in 2023. And then he had a health issue. And so we actually stopped the couples council. So almost a year later, so that was March of 23, almost a year later, we meet for the first time to catch up, and so wonderful to catch up with them. And they said, we've been working with this woman and she does IFS, internal family systems. And you guys might want to work with her. And so I call her up, and I was having this whole breakdown with Brent, and she's like, I could see you today. So I had 3 sessions by myself, and then Brent had 3 sessions by himself. And then we started working with her together. And having someone hold us every week, we've been seeing her every single week. Well, I started in February. So I would say for the past 2 months, we have met weekly with her. And the way in which she holds us is this beautiful, totally neutral, calling us both forward, calling us both out, and taking us deeper to look at the parts, the little kid parts that are interacting with each other. And I had been wanting to do this work for years, and finally found just this amazing wise woman who can really hold the space for us and really listen and really get us and hold it with so much compassion and love. And that we can then really see those little parts. The little boy I can see and witness. The little girl he can see and witness. And it has just completely been transforming the relationship. And as a result of being able to go underneath and look at what's really going on, what's the part that's interacting right now, I have been able to unravel so many old stories. The old stories of, Brent's not going to be able to provide, Brent's just going to keep going in circles. No. So, as a result of doing this, he has been building our home on the property, in addition to finishing our first dome, which should all be done by the time I show up in June. But to watch him in action, in his masculine power, leading a team of 15 guys right now building on the property is absolutely inspiring. Like, there you are, babe. There you are. I see you. And I could just feel it. Like I could just feel that love and so it's, like him being in action helps unravel stories, but my own unraveling of these beliefs that I have about him and the doubts and the judgments. And that's one of the things that we've talked about is my judgments towards him. But in letting those go, it then also creates the space for him to be in action, for him to create for us. And so this journey of taking the physical space has allowed us to take care of business. Talked about this in the season opener. He's able to take care of business and do what he's set out to do, which is to build on the property and have the space to like really focus on that, right? And for me, taking care of business has been about really coming back home to myself. Because I have a pattern of merging into others. And I have a pattern of merging into him. And so I can see all these codependent threads that we have and this entanglement. And, for the past 4 years, we've been untangling as business partners, like the ways in which we were stuck with Sistership Circle, and him trying to get out of that so that he could focus on De La Diosa and building, and have me just running Sistership Circle. Without him, he comes in like once a week to consult and to help with some of the tech and different things, but he really he only has to work 1 day a week. We've got everything else covered. And so, we've been untangling that, but then all the other codependent patterns that have just accumulated, I guess, over a 9-year period. And so I have been able to unhook my energy from him and come back to me. And how I've done that is through the nervous system work, somatic experiencing, the parts work, the IFS, the brain highways. But I have just been able to really focus on me, taking care of me, coming back into my power. And even one of my tools has been face massage and understanding how much tension I hold in my face, in my neck, in my chest, in my traps. When whatever is in our face, as we're getting older, we want our face to naturally age, right? But that's all what is being held in the neck and the chest and the shoulders. And the amount of holding tension, I have been loosening up, I have been softening. And the more that I soften up in my neck, in my chest, in my face, the more relaxed I am. It's been impacting my nervous system, and it's just been a beautiful practice. Actually, I've done almost every day for 60 days. I've missed only like a couple days of doing 30-minute face massage. And I've been able to have this time that I'm not focused on the marriage, I'm focused on me. And so there's this real sense of us both coming into our sovereignty and still holding the vision and taking care of business and working with this beautiful light worker, this beautiful woman, to come into better communication, more harmony, and be held as we then are. It's like it feels like we're kind of side by side walking on two separate paths right now, but that we know that the paths are going to come and meet in a second. Like there's a little bit of forest between us, but we know that the paths will merge. And there was a point on this journey when I said, I don't know if I'm going to want to go back to Costa Rica, to this relationship, but I'm so clear. And it was always this, I don't have an answer. I don't have an answer. And then it just came to me last month. It was so crystal clear. It was the yes, the hell yes, the fuck yes. And that feels really, really good to claim. And just no doubt, like just absolutely no doubt that I'm ready to go back to being with him. And so in reflection here, I don't know how many people told me to think about divorce, thought we were going to get divorced. I mean, there was rumors with all our friends in Costa Rica, but really, it's like you just can't pay attention to any of that because the truth is only going to come from within. And that I had to just trust in that Brent and I came together for a bigger purpose. And that is not complete yet. What we've set out to accomplish together is not complete yet. Now, we don't know what's going to happen with this property. We don't know if the original vision is going to still stand or if something else is going to want to come through once we're actually living on that property. But we know that we're building something that's bigger. We know that we're up to something and that we were brought together for a reason to do that. I've recently found this book, and essentially it's this old method of, and I'm just looking it up real quick. It's called Love and Destiny. And essentially it's based on your birth and it's based on the deck of cards. And when you think about the deck of cards, it's pretty amazing that there's 13, including the Joker, and then there's 13 moons. There's 4 suits. There's 4 seasons. There's 52 cards, and there's 52 weeks. And there's 365 cards. Wait. Sorry. There's 52 cards in a deck. Yes. There's 365. There's something, I think it's with combinations or something, which is the days of the year. Yeah, it's so fascinating. So anyway, there's this whole way of doing these readings with cards for yourself, but also for relationship. And so the Love and Destiny, I started to look at. And so my birth card is the 8 of Spades. It's the path of endurance, the power through work. Brent's birth is the 8 of Hearts, which is the power of love, emotional power. And then you put us together. So you could put your cards together, and we are the 3 of Hearts. which is the creative expressions of the heart. And so when I read that, it it's like we have so much passion for our vision, and everything that when I think about our relationship and when I think about the soul essence, the connection, when we are truly in that like soul partnership, that is exactly what I feel. Creative expressions of the heart. And our medicine is MDMA. We have done MDMA ceremonies throughout our marriage. And the intention always is that coming back into the heart, because it's the medicine of the heart. MDMA is about really connecting with love and connecting with the heart. And when I think about De La Diosa, it's about creativity. It's about the heart space. And yeah, there's just something so magical about doing my own reading really with this book. So I'll put the link into the show notes if you're interested in getting this book. And then I also went to knowyourdestinycards.com, and you can do the reading on yourself. So it's the love and destiny is how you put it together to look at relationships. And what she says too is that it can just be you and one person, but you could also look at the group. So you can add up the birth numbers for your family, and that would be a different essence. And so Summer and Callie put together is an 8 of clubs. They are the power of intention together. And then all 4 of us, where did I write that one? We have an essence as well and a destiny for the 4 of us. So it's interesting to look at me and Brent, the 2 of them, and then the 4 of us. And then I could actually look at what's my destiny with Callie, what's my destiny with Summer, what's Summer's with Dad and Callie's with Dad. And but I love doing these different readings. And my friend always does mine, my numerology every year for my birthday. And so this year for me, I'm in the 13, the death card, which is the year of change and transformation. And that's for sure. Last year, I was the hangman, and that was the year of timeout. And so when I look at numerology of, oh my God, last year totally felt like a timeout. And I had no answers until my birthday in March. Like I literally had to shift numerology, right, from timeout to this now death card to have these answers start to come through. And so March to July for me this year is education, new paths, travel. It's the Page of Pentacles, money. And I could see that. Like I'm going to go back to Costa Rica. And then also in that, I wrote down love affair. And I totally feel that. Like I feel the love, the spark, like coming back with Brent, and just like this really juicy excitement to be with him. So, yeah, I just think that this is so cool. And let's just see that I'm 44 now. And for me, this is the year of financial abundance and building the future. And what I'm calling in, what I said in March, was expansion, continuing to expand my nervous system's capacity and softening into gentle communication. 100%. Satisfaction. In human design, when I'm in alignment, I'm in satisfaction. And so shifting from frustration to satisfaction. and then power partnerships. And so that's with my husband, and then creating other heart-centered collaborations and co-creations and connections in my life. So yeah, sometimes we got to take a time out, literally. I'm just doing the physical manifestation of my numerology. But yeah, sometimes, taking that break from the marriage and taking care of yourself is the best thing for the partnership. And I'm just so delighted to know that I made the right choice. And yes, there was an impact of, conversations around feeling abandoned. But again, we have support to go deeper into the part that's feeling abandoned and to help to heal that and to really trust that this was the right decision, that there was really deep medicine for us. All right, so that's it. More coming. I'm excited to finally do the reveal when the dome gets done. And so I think towards the end of the season, we'll have a huge update. And I think that's also what's fun about doing this podcast, is bringing my personal story into this and sharing, the journey that I'm on. So thanks for listening. Thanks for being here with me. And I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.
You just listened to this show. I'd love for you to leave the Brave Woman podcast an honest review. Reviews help podcasts like this one grow, making it more possible for me to devote my time, energy, and money to its production. If you take a screenshot of your review and email it to support@sistershipcircle.com, we'll send you one of our archetype activations as a thank you gift. Thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it.
Up next, do you feel your emotions unconditionally, or do you stuff them down? Join me and Bernadette Pleasant on an emotion tour as we dive into the emotional range, from rage, grief, and frustration to joy and bliss.